and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you, the good people of the tube. Hope you're well today. Hope you're feeling grand and all's well in your world. Hello there. I'm doing another Q&A Wednesday, everybody, with a slight twist. What's that twist? Well, if you read the title, as I'm sure you have, it's behind the scenes. What I mean by behind the scenes is today, you might be asking, where's the intro jam? Right, well, what's going to happen is, I get a lot of people asking me, how do I come up with the intro jams? So, I thought, before I get to the Q&A questions today, I thought I would show you how I come up with the intro jams, record it, and then we'll record it properly, and then we'll get into the questions. So it's a bit different Q&A. I thought I'd just make it a little bit different. So, I did actually do a take before this, but I didn't realise that the camera was peeking out. And, it didn't, and it just made the audio go all funny. So, I've had to start again, which I'm not too impressed about. But, basically the first take was me just trying to decide on a drum pattern. Which I have found now. So, I found a drum pattern. It's, number, hang on a minute. It's number 7, 07. The drum pattern is 07 on the Zoom G2. That's where I get all my drums from, is the Zoom G2. And there's I think there's 30 different drum patterns inside the pedal. And they're all really, really cool. There's some absolutely crazy ones, there's some really, really nice ones. And this one stuck out to me today. I did try another one before, and it's like 16th note kind of drum thing. It's like that, but it didn't really work with what I want to play and how I feel kind of thing. So I've got a chord. I also mentioned I do have a chord progression in mind, but that might change. I came up with it earlier on, but it might change. But I don't know. But this drum pattern seems to work quite nicely. I'm using my black strap today, everybody, as it's just had a new refret. I only got it back yesterday, and it's just been refretted for the second time in its life, and it needs wearing back in again because when you get a guitar refretted, for a while the guitar's like, I'm gonna just tense myself up for a bit, if that's okay. And then after a while playing it, just kind of goes, and then all is well. So I'm gonna play it as much as I can over the next couple of weeks to kind of get it really worn back in. Still feels amazing, and the refret has just made this thing sing. I mean, just out of just as a bit of a side note, listen to the singiness of this. If I kick on distortion, it's just got so much life back in it, because not the original frets, the frets it had when I got it were just nearly. So they had to be changed, especially up the high end here. There was nothing left. The third fret had stopped pretty much working on the E and the B strings. But anyway, that's a different video altogether. So let's get into recording the backing track for the intro jam. So what I normally do is just have the drums and guitar. I don't really do many overdubs, really. It's just one of those things. I mean, sometimes I'll do overdubs, but most of the time, I'm not really in the mood. I just like to get the kind of a basic idea of the intro jam kind of down and just go for it. Because I think you can start to overthink things. If you start doing too many overdubs, you're like thinking, oh, that could have been better, that could have been better. Whereas the fact that I just like to just get it done and then just go nuts in one take over the top of it, or 2 takes if something goes wrong. But it's normally just a 1-take deal. I don't like to do multiple takes. I like to capture that moment in time. So, this is the drum pattern I've got, as you all heard. So, I quite like that. It's got a kind of a lumbery kind of like feel, and it really fits to the idea of what I want this chord progression to sound like. I like that. I like the feel of that. It's really, really cool. So what I'm going to do now is hang on a minute. My zoom pedal down there is a bit old and arthritic, and it takes a couple of presses of a button to stop the drums. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to check the levels between the drums and the rhythm guitar. So I'm just going to record a bit, check it on the Ditto Looper, and if it's all good, we'll go for a take and we'll see how far we go. So. I would say there the drums are too quiet, so the drums need to come up a smidge. I normally have the drums on about 14 volume wise, but that's changing today. I'm going to put it at 17. I like that, so we'll go with that. Okay, so the drums volume is at 17. It's patch number 9, I think, or 7. I forget which one I said now. But so yeah, let's go for a take of see what we can come up with. The chord progression I've got in my mind might change, and I do apologise if there's any peeking out. The snare drum seems to be peeking out the camera a bit, but hopefully it won't be too horrific. So let's go for a take. So we'll get the drums rolling. I think I'll have a lead in as well. I feel like a bit of a lead in to it this time, so the drums will go around for a bar or two before I actually come in and start playing. So here we go. No pressure. Okay, that's the backing track. I kind of messed up the ending there, but it's okay. I'm going to leave it in because I like the way the whole thing felt. So to kind of like redo it again, if the whole thing felt great and there's one mistake, leave it. Leave the mistake in. It's totally fine to leave it in. So now what I need to do is check my levels with the backing track for the solo I'm going to put over the top of it. So it's a case of starting the loop and just seeing how things fit and see how it hears. See how I hear it. See if it sounds right. Okay, I like that. I really like the DS2 today. I was planning just to kind of like just be quite mellow with it and just use the jackhammer kind of clean tone and maybe the Ibanez Wah, but this guitar is making me want to do long, sustained, flowy notes. So the DS2 is the chosen pedal. I might kick on the Governor as well for an extra bit of sing. You can never have enough gain, and I might kick on the Ibanez Wah. I don't know, but I like the levels. The kind of like I can hear my lead kind of tone, I can hear the rhythm, I can hear the drums, and they just kind of sit nice. So the next thing, the last final thing I do is the reverb. I like things atmospheric, and I like quite a bit of reverb, which is strange because I didn't used to like reverb at all. I love reverb now. It's like weird. It's like when I go back to using an amp without it, when I go back to you playing without reverb, I'm like, ooh. It's a bit hard. It can be a bit direct. It's nice for sometimes, but I like reverb, especially on backing tracks. It just adds a thing. So what I'm going to do is just set the reverb going, and I use the amp's reverb. So I don't set the reverb going. I set the loop going, and dial in the reverb till it sounds nice to me. So it's on 2 at this point in time. So I could probably get a bit more. Cranked right up. Yeah, 7 it is. So that's it. That's how I do my backing tracks. That's literally all there is to it. Just making sure the levels are okay. This is just going to be a very, very long note singy guitar thing. I don't know where it's going to go. We will see in but a moment. So, I'm going to reposition the camera, turn the room mics off, just get close mic going, and yeah, let's see what comes out. Okie dokie, there you go. That's all there is. That's sort of about as much thought as I want to ever put into an intro jam. I want it to be really quick, really spontaneous, just a real moment in time that's just like captured. You know, I don't want it to be overthought, and I don't want it to be overplanned. I don't want it to be perfect. I don't believe perfect exists anyway. So I just want it to be that moment, how I feel at that point in time, and just doing it. I didn't actually realise, but that song, that intro actually changes key. From it was what is it? B minor, A major, and E major was the intro, and then it switched to an F sharp minor, so I had to change key. But that's cool. I liked it. It was quite a cool thing. Again, it was just, you know, one of those things I came up with earlier on, and I liked it. I was like, that's going to be the intro jam. But other than the thought process of that chord progression, I didn't have any idea. The outro was totally off the cuff. I had no idea where I was going with that one, chord-wise. And then the solo, I just like to react to the way the song makes me feel. It kind of like, you know, depending on that, it just made me want to just do long, big notes. And I kicked on the Ebenezer at one point because it made me just feel like it. And at the end of it, when everything calmed down, the higher power said, turn those distortions off now. You need to go quiet with it as well. Because I was thinking I was just going to stay loud and singy, and it didn't work that way. So, you know, that's that moment in time, everybody. So, I hope that answers that question of how I do my backing tracks. So, let's get to question 1, shall we, today? So, let's get into Q&A Wednesday. So, yes, I'm lost now. Okay, so I really enjoyed that. I really liked that intro. It was really nice. I might do another take of it later on, just to show you it's not all planned. I don't know. For the outro, I might do a different take. You know, well, same thing, just a different solo. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, question 1 today, everybody. I'm looking for a practice amp. I'm torn between the Boss Katana and the new Marshall MGs. Any thoughts? I haven't tried the new Marshall MGs, the Gold Series. I haven't tried them, but I'm not impressed by the videos I've seen of them. They sound shrill and nasty, a lot like the MG DFX, FX, sorry, not the DFX. The DFX are good. The MG FX, like the 100 watt, I don't know, can you see that down there? Just, there's kind of like the red flexi in the way. But there's an MG 100 there, which is Joe's, and that's the shrill and thin, and it doesn't sound very good. Personally, I'd recommend the Katana, just because I've played through the Katana, and I'm not impressed by the videos I've seen on the new Marshall MGs. I would like to try one, the Gold Series, I'd like to try one, but I don't want a repeat of the code, where I get it and I just can't stand it. And a lot of people have said, I think you're missing the point of the code. You know, you need the app and stuff like that. And yeah, I probably am, but I don't want to ever have to rely on my phone to dial in my amp. You know, it's just not something I want to do. I want to be able to do it from the amp. I don't want to have to go in my phone because I'm not technically adept at that kind of thing. So yeah, I probably am, you know, missing the point slightly on what the code is supposed to be used for. But for me, it's all about practicality, and that amp is just not practical for me. So. And I do feel that the new Marshall MGs, the Gold Series, they just sound the same. They just sound shrill and fizzy and thin, and I don't like the sound of them. They look really, but I don't know, I wasn't impressed with them. The new MGs are just, no, they had it right here with the older ones, and the newer ones just don't, I don't know, they didn't do it for me. So I would recommend the Boss Katana. The Boss Katana 50 is just unreal. I have yet to get the volume live above 3. And that's playing with Drummer. The Voodoo Child video I uploaded a while back, the volume was on, I think, 2.5 there. It's so loud. The 50 watt is a beast. And I played a gig the other night, a big festival gig where I used the Katana 50, and I had it on just below 2, and it just was so loud. It's just unreal. So yeah, I would recommend the Boss Katana myself personally, but that's only because I haven't tried the new Marshall MGs and I'm not impressed by what I've heard so far with demos of them. So, I hope that's answered your question. People of the tube, if any of you have tried the new Marshall MG Gold Series, what would you say about it? Would you recommend it over the Boss Katana? If you have tried it, let us know in the comment section below. Let's help this fellow out. Okay, so moving on to question 2 now. I hope that's answered your question. Question 2. How do you sing and play at the same time? That's just practice. It's hard. If you've never done it before, it's difficult, and I still can't do certain things. I still struggle sometimes to play and sing, and because I don't like singing. I'm a very reluctant singer. I don't really enjoy singing. I don't have a very good voice. I'm not a very good singer. I have really bad technique. I run out of air quickly because I tend to kind of breathe in and then blow it all out on the first letter, and then I've got no air for the rest of the line I'm singing. But it's just a case of practicing it. You've just got to throw yourself in the deep end. Like with anything with the guitar, you've just got to throw yourself in the deep end and just try and do it. You know, whether in your bedroom or live. I mean, I threw myself in the deep end and just started doing it live because I'm a bit stupid. Looking back now, actually, I think it was quite a good thing because you are literally thrown in the deep end. You've got to learn to swim. You know, so I reckon, throwing yourself in the deep end sometimes is really cool. It can really, the nerves and the pressure you feel can really enhance that kind of this, I have to be able to do this. So, it's quite a cool thing to do. It's terrifying. It's scary. Much as in the same way recording the intro jam for today was scary as well. I felt very kind of under pressure by it. I don't normally feel under pressured by that at all. It's normally a case of I just kind of see what comes out. But I felt like, with showing you, I was like, it's got to be good, it's got to be good, it's got to be good. And so that was a kind of a dive in the deep end kind of thing. And it was a bit nerve-wracking, especially the solo. The one-take solo is like, whoa, make sure we know where we are. It's just a case of practicing. You just need to practice playing it. Like, pick a really simple song with very simple chords and simple rhythm. Because you said in your email you get kind of like, your rhythm kind of goes out the way, and that goes out when you start playing, and when you start singing. Sorry, and that's pretty common. You've got to start off really simple songs. Whatever simple song you can find, many kind of maybe open chords or something like that, and just throw yourself in and just keep practicing it. It's just a case of just doing it over and over again. It probably took me about 2 to 3 years to be comfortable to sing and play. And that was practicing it pretty much every day for about 2 to 3 years. I actually don't practice singing anymore because I don't enjoy it as much as I do enjoy singing. I don't enjoy it as much as I enjoy playing the guitar. So I've kind of stopped practicing it, which I still do practice it, but not as much as I should be doing. I tend to just play the guitar more, which is my silly fault and just laziness more than anything. But yeah, you just need to just practice it, and it's not going to happen in a week. It's not going to happen in a month. It's not going to happen in a year. Possibly it could do, but you just need to throw yourself in and just kind of just keep going at it. Eventually, it will all click into place. It's just a question of time. And the amount of time you put into it, basically. What you put in, you will get back out, but it just takes that time. Okay, so I hope that's answered your question. Moving on to question 3 now. So question 3 is, what do you think to using an A-B switcher to go between amps? Any ideas or tips? Switching A-Bs between amps is really, really cool. It really is cool. I used to have... Way back when I used to have a setup which was my Marshall MG was my main clean and distortion, and then I had a Marshall VS100 Valve State 100 head, and that was set up for a Jimi Hendrix tone. So, and I used to go A-B between them. So when I was playing Jimi Hendrix songs, I'd use the VS. When I was playing like John Frusciante, Red Hot Chili Peppers stuff, I'd use the MG. And I used to have I still have it. I had a Boss AB switcher. And switching between amps is really, really cool. It's one of those things that, it's really fun to do. It's really fun to do because you can set one amp one way and the other amp the other way and just go between them. You can have one set for clean, one for distortion. An example I can think of off the top of my head is Pearl Jam. In the early days of Pearl Jam, 92... 93, Mike McCready and Stone Gossard had a Fender for clean and a Marshall for distortion, and I think Stone had a Fender Twin for his clean and a JSM 800 for his rhythm, for his kind of his distortion, And Mike had a Fender Bassman for his clean and a JSM 800 for his rhythm. And then he used to boost the JSM 800 with a Sans amp distortion. And that was on a Ernie Ball Panpot volume pedal. So all the way back, it was just the Fender. As they rolled it forward, it got less of a Fender. So in the middle, it was kind of like a mix between both. So you get the Fender and the Marshall. So you get the clean signal and the distortion signal. And then all the way forward was just the Marshall. And it's a really, really cool thing, that is. That's really cool. I really want one of those pedals to try that out. It just sounds like a really cool setup because you get to blend them in really, really, really cool. And John Butler does the same thing with his 11 string, acoustics. He has a Marshall Plexi 100 watt for his kind of dirty kind of tone, and then he just has his straight DI for his acoustic. And what he does is he's on a volume pedal and he just blends the two. So he'll just bring it. His clean signal doesn't go anywhere though; it's always there. But he just blends in the Plexi to add grit and dirt, and it's really cool. It's really cool. So that's kind of two things you can do with A/B switching. You can, like I say, you can have one amp set for one tone and another amp set for another. You can kind of blend both, kind of like, you know, clean and dirty if you know, on a volume thing. Or you can do like what John Butler does, have your original clean signal and a distortion signal as well. I think Stephen Wilson does that as well with his, I think, an amp called a Bad Cat. He uses, it's a really cool amp where you can run the clean channel and the distortion channel at the same time, which is really, really cool. And you can do that on a JSM 800 50 watt as well, the Tom Morello amp. You can do that on that amp as well, which is really, really cool. Yeah, so that it is really, really cool. I mean, my ideal kind of setup for two amps would be running the MG and the CR120 together. I won't be switching between them. I just run them both in stereo. Because the orange is darker than the MG. So the MG would kind of like take the high end and the CR120 would take the low end, and they complement each other really nicely that way. And you don't get any phasing issues because of that. It's really, really cool. They're not, if you run two MGs together, they can sound a bit funny, which is really, really weird. Because I think because they're so similar, if you set them same, they kind of, you get some phasing problems and stuff, and because things are running a bit weird. But the MG and the CR120 love each other, and they sound wicked together. And I'll have to do a video actually. Now I've got this camera with the dual input out the back, I'll have to do a video where I'll do a stereo set up, run the orange and the MG together, and let you hear what it sounds like. It's wicked, absolutely wicked. So and also you can do the wet and dry thing, where you have one amp with reverb and delay, and you have the other one with nothing, and it just kind of creates a really cool kind of stereo image. But that's more kind of both amps on at the same time. That's not switching A/B. But A/B is fun. A/Bing between amps is really good fun, and I would recommend having fun with it to any guitarist. If you've got two amps, regardless of the size, regardless of the wattage, if you get an A/B box and you just, you know, because I got a Boss one and it was like 30 quid, really, really cheap. It's really good fun to switch between the two. You can have like one amp set for clean, one for distortion. You could set up one amp for kind of like slightly broken up, and the other one for lead. You could have like a volume jump, so one set for like rhythm volume, and you switch to your amp, which is louder for lead. So you jump out the mix, and also you can have like your rhythm kind of set quite fat, and then you can have your lead tone quite kind of brightish, bit more cutting, so it cuts through the mix a bit more. So it's really, really cool. Really, really cool. And I could probably talk about it for another 16 hours, but we have 8 questions today, everybody, and I would like to do another pass on that, just because why not? It's something a bit of a giggle. So yeah, I'm going to crack on. So I hope that's answered your question. I hope there's a few ideas there that you can go away and you kind of mess with. But yeah, it's great fun. It's great fun to A/B amps. It's really good fun. And running two amps together in stereo is like unreal as well. It's really, really cool. Okay, so how much this question? Moving on to question 4 now. Question 4. Have you ever come to Ireland to perform, and if so, where? And do you ever plan on coming to Ireland to perform in the future? I haven't ever gone to Ireland to perform, no. I've never played in Ireland. I came to Ireland. I came to Cork to visit Rory Gallagher and Cork, and I love Ireland. It was just wicked. I just loved it. It was I spent some time in Dublin. Not Dublin, sorry. Was it Dublin? No, it wasn't. My brain's gone blank, everybody. I do apologise. Yes, no, so it was. Yeah, Dublin. Yeah, of course, I did. I spent some time in Dublin. That was gorgeous. And I went down to Cork. I drove all the way down to Cork, and that was amazing. I say to visit Rory, and it was just wicked. So, and I would love to come over to Ireland to play, but it's just a case of getting the gigs. You know, it's hard to get gigs these days. It's really difficult, especially if you're not known. If you're a not known band, if you're just an upcoming band like you know, Dukes Deluder or a trio, it'd be very hard to get a gig over there, and it's hard to afford to get over there as well, because it has to be, you have to be able to break even to afford to drive all the way there and then drive all the way back, you know, and then you've got to think about all your gear and stuff like that. So I would love to in the future, definitely have plans to come to Ireland and play in the future. I would love to, you know, I would love to come over and play and do some Rory Gallagher. And some Gary Moore and stuff like that over there, and some Thin Lizzy and stuff like that, because it'd just be brilliant. It's just the fact of at this point in time, it's not really a possibility. I wish it was, but getting gigs is getting harder and harder. Getting well-paid gigs is getting harder and harder, and it's just finding the venues that were willing to take that chance on you. Because it's really hard to keep a venue open these days, so it's difficult. But yeah, hopefully in the future I will be coming to Ireland and other places to perform. I would love that. That's all I've ever wanted to do, is just go around playing music for people. You know, but it's hard work. It's difficult to do, especially if you're an unknown band. It's really, really difficult to do. But yeah, I do have plans for the future. Whether they come to fruition or not, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But fingers crossed, touch wood, and everything else is... It's my dream to be able to go to different countries and play music and have people come and watch. It's just awesome. It's just that unfortunately things like money get in the way. I wish it was a case of like, you know, yeah, I'll be there tomorrow because I'd do it, but it's sadly not that way. So yeah, I hope that's answered your question. In the future, fingers crossed, touch wood, everything, hopefully, fingers crossed. Okay, so moving to question 5 now. What are your opinions on Peter Green's solo albums End of the Game and In the Skies? End of the Game, I love. It's a bit hard to listen to at times because it is so random. But I do love End of the Game. It's one of my favourite Peter Green albums, next to Then Play On. Then Play On is my favourite because it's got songs like Closing My Eyes and Oh Well Part 2 and Rattlesnake Shake and stuff like that. And, you know, Before the Beginning. But I do love End of the Game. In the Skies, I don't want to say I hate it, because I do like it. I would pick End of the Game over it, personally. I do love both, but I do prefer the End of the Game. There's just something... Peter Green's tone and his playing in End of the Game is just otherworldly. It's scary. It's like there's something going on. You know, it's something else going on, and it just is really, really cool. There's something taking control of him there that's very, very high up in the power level. And it's really, really cool. So, I do like both, but I prefer the End of the Game. People of the Tube, what's your favourite Peter Green album, and why? Leave your comments below in the comment section. Okay, so, I've got to say, Tangent Boy hasn't appeared yet, has he? I don't know. There is still time. There is still time. Okay, so how do you pick... sorry, I hope I answered your question to that. Question 6 now, everybody. How do you pick when playing Dosed by the Red Hot Chili Peppers? Do you have any tips? Right. Yeah. It's a bit odd. Okay. What I do is the first chord, the E minor chord, which oddly enough is technically a C major, because the actual root of the actual kind of bass kind of chords of Dosed are C major, D major, E minor, and it's really strange because John's playing an E minor triad over that C major, and it's really, really cool. So really, really cool. And you can tell he came up with it on a loop pedal. It's really, really cool. But anyway, what I do is, because the first note you play is the E, the 12th fret on your high E string, I tend to pick that. So that's an up pick. So that's that. I up pick that one, and then the is all down pick. So it's it's down picks from there on. So that first note is an up pick, and then when you go to the 12th fret on your G string, down pick. 12th fret B string is the down pick, and then when you get to your high E again, it's a down pick, and then it's down picked again. So up pick, down, 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 down. So up, down, 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 down. And then when you go to the D major, it's just down picks again. So G, B, and E all down pick, and when you get to the E minor triad, it's just a down pick again. Yeah, so it's all down picked apart from that first high, the note, the E note on the high E string. Apart from that note there, that first note, it's all down picks. So it's up. And it's just a case of getting that flow. You know, it takes a bit of time because it can throw you off as well. You've got to be careful of the rhythm of the notes throwing you off. And it's quite easy to speed up as well. You can do this. And then kind of like fumble and fall over yourself because you realise you're going too fast and you've got to slow down and you fall out. So that's how I do it. That's what I'd recommend, is that first note wants to be up picked and the rest just wants to be down picked. But again, this might not work for you. This is I can only speak from my perspective. This is what works for me to play dosed. You might find alternate picking it. So up, down, you know, which feels a bit weird. Yeah, that's really weird for me. I can't do that. My brain is going, what? What are you on about? So yeah, up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, and then down again. So the only note that's up picked is that first high E, which you only play once at the start of the phrase. So at the start of the progression, sorry. So yeah, so that's what I would say there. I'm going to do a lesson teaching dosed. I might do it after Psycho Sexy. I've got Psycho Sexy to teach first. And then I want to do a video on DS2, but I might do that separately. I might do a review on the DS2. I don't know. What people of the tube? What would you like? Would you like a lesson on the DS2 of how John Frusciante uses it, or would you like just a review of the DS2, kind of review format? And I'll talk about how John uses it in that. You know, would you like it as part of a series, or would you like it just as a separate video? It's totally up to you. Leave your comments in the section below. So yeah, just to clarify, so would you like a lesson on it of how John uses the DS2, or would you like me to just review the pedal in, like, you know, that pedal demo format and just explain how John uses it from there? I don't know. Let me know, because I don't know myself. I can't make my mind up. So leave comments below. Okay, so that's how I would pick dose. That's how I pick dose, and that's the way I find it's easy. And also, you want to be quite light with this hand. You don't want to be digging in. Like, I'm going to annihilate this riff. It's very lightly picked. And that helps to make it flow, because it's a warmer sound. If your right hand's lighter, it's a warmer sound. So that's what I would recommend you do. But it might not work for you. Try as many things as you can to get that flow going, because what works for me might not work for you. It's, you know, it's very subjective. 1 second, everybody. I need to have some tone juice. This is apart from the horrible yellowish colour, it's not what you think it is. It's distilled tears of Jimi Hendrix and John Frusciante. I get it in from Black Market. And it's the only reason I can play guitar. Without that, I'm just like this. Play dose, Dave. Okay. You know, without it, that's what happens. I better drink some more, actually. Getting low powered. I can feel it coming back. There we are. Okay. Yeah. Anyway. Don't you believe that? Probably not. Okay. Tangent Boy is, in effect, everybody, flying. Is it a man? Is it a bird? No, it's Tangent Boy on the case. Ruining everything. I don't know. Ruining everything? Maybe? I don't know. Where was I? I've lost. Dosed! Yes, there we are. I got dosed by that. And stop it! Back to the question! You can get your cape on and fly around later. Anyway, yeah, that's how I would play Dosed. That's kind of like how I do it to get that kind of flow. So, you know, but like I say, try as many different things as you can. Just like, you know, just messing around and just see what comes. Try alternate picking it up, down, up, down, up, down. Or try doing it all down picked. Or try doing it all up picked. I mean, it's a bit weird. It's kind of hard to do, but you know, it won't be impossible. But try a couple of things. But I say the way I do it is up pick that first note, and the rest are all down picked. So that one is up picked, the rest all down picked. So I hope that's answered your question. Apart from a weird tangent about John Frusciante and Jimi Hendrix's Distilled Tears, where Tangent Boy popped in. But anyway, so yeah, so I hope it answers your question. Moving on to question 7 now, which actually kind of goes in... I actually didn't realise that, but it kind of goes in tandem with question 1 in a way. Question 7 is, what do you think of the new Marshall MG Gold series? Like I said at the beginning, I am not impressed by the videos. The reviews on them I've seen haven't made me go, I want to try one. They made me go, I don't want to touch it. Because it does sound really fizzy and shrill. And like I said at the beginning, I don't want a repeat of the code. I don't. Excuse me, everybody. The code made me despair. And like I said at the beginning, I probably am missing the point of that. But it didn't work for me. I'm a plug-in and kind of play as simple as possible kind of thing. So I like... It's why I only have used one channel on a 2-channel amp. You know, it's as simple as it can be. But yeah, I've not been impressed by what I've heard on the Tube reviews. Marshall's demo of it sounds horrific to me. It just sounded really fizzy. It's like the treble was just cranked and there's no mids. There's no real kind of low end. They just didn't sound very good. They didn't, in all fairness, they didn't sound any different to the MGs down there, like the FX and the Carbon series, to be honest with you. They didn't have the depth of sound that these older MGs have, where it's a real fat Marshall tone. They just sound really fizzy. But without playing through one, I can't give a 100% opinion because it could be really amazing. But from what I've heard, I don't like it. It's not the amp for me, and I'd like to get my hands on one, but I don't want to have to. I've been through 2 weeks of annoyance trying to return the Marshall code because it wasn't working out, and the place I bought it from, you know, it's just been hard work. Let's put it that way. Because I don't want it. I just didn't want that amp in my life. I don't want to ever see it again. It's giving me nightmares because it was just too much hard work, and any amp that's that much hard work for me is I'm not interested in. I never want to see it again. If I can't plug into an amp straight, like, you know, and in 10 minutes have a sound, I'm just like, yep, that's it. I'm not really interested. That's kind of like the prerequisite, if you will, for me plugging into amps. If within 10 minutes I'm still struggling to get the concept of the amp or get a sound I want, then I'm going to start to get annoyed at it, and it's going to fall out of favour with me. Because all my favourite amps, the Marshall Master Reverb, the Orange Crush series, the MGs, my Carlsbro, the Katana, stuff like that, it takes me 5 to 10 minutes to get the amp to sound the way I want it, and that's it. Set and forget, and that's the way that goes. And it was the same with my Marshall Plexi, my small box Plexi. It was exactly the same. It was just a case of setting it and forgetting it, apart from when it went funny due to voltage increase and decrease. I remember once when the voltage decreased and it just became this muddy mess, and I ended up, at the end of the gig, I had all the EQ, apart from bass, on full whack. I had treble, presence and middle on full whack, and it still sounded like the tone was off on my guitar. I was just like, this is just uncomfortable. And oddly enough, 3 gigs after that, the amp blew up. Not thanks to me though, sadly. I didn't get to blow it up for the first time. Somebody else blew it up for me. and I'm not really sure how they did, but they blew up the output, not the output transformer, but the output tubes, the valves, the big ones, the power valves. Yeah, not the preamp, the power. Yeah, I'll get there in a minute. Anyway, Tangent Boy again, everybody. Tangent Boy. But yeah, I would like to get my mitts on one of the MG Golds. Back to the question. Haha! But I'm not holding out hope it's going to be any good. It's got these to contend with, and that's big shoes to fill in my books. So, but I can't give an honest opinion because I haven't tried it. So I can't say if it's good or it's bad. It's just from what I've heard, I don't like the sound of it. But I would like to try it myself, and hopefully one day I will. So yeah, yeah. I hope that's answered your question. People of the tube, if you tried an MG Gold series, like I said in question 1, let us know what you thought about it. Is it good? Are they good, or are they bad, or are they okay? Let us know if you've tried one. If you've tried one out. Okay, so moving on to final question today. Question 8 is this one. How long did it take till you could play without thinking? Oh, sorry. Let me read this again. How long did it take till you could play without thinking about what you're playing, and how much theory did you learn? Okay, so the playing without thinking thing is a mindset you have to fall into, and it's not going to happen every time. There are times where you can't escape thinking about what you're playing, and that's just the way it's going to be. That's just the way that I think the human brain is. You can't always have your brain turned off. That, you know, if you're playing a gig, something might happen. Early gig, like, I don't know, a pedal dies, or you break a string, or a lead dies, or somebody in the crowd is heckling you, or something. And that sometimes is enough just to send you off enough where no matter what you do that gig, you can't switch off. And so just turning your brain off is really difficult, and it's not always possible, regardless of your level. It's real. It's a hard thing to do at the best. It's kind of a hard thing to do at the best of times sometimes, because your brain can, especially if your brain malfunctions like mine does sometimes, it likes to think of other things to punish you and torment you. So it's really difficult to turn your brain off sometimes, and sometimes it ain't going to happen, sometimes it will. It's a 50-50 shot. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. It's not a case of you can just kind of turn it off, because you don't know what's going to happen here, there and everywhere. Certain things might come along to sway your brain to turn back on and not turn back off. And then certain things might come along where you get so relaxed in what you're doing that it just turns itself off automatically and you're just free. But it took me a long time to be able to just kind of submit to music, because you do have that initial thing of, I look stupid, I'm pulling stupid faces, I'm getting into all weird positions to play, and that just looks stupid. I'm not doing that because it's embarrassing. And it took me a while to kind of like to ditch that thing of how you look and the faces you pull and all that kind of thing, to just forget that and get over that and just kind of forget it and just play. And that is one thing. It's just accepting you're going to look stupid sometimes, and that's just the way that is. You know, you're gonna. You know, you see some like still shots of like people like Jimi Hendrix and John Frusciante and John Mayer. John Mayer got some great guitar faces, and you know they just look silly. They look like no, there's literally kind of like moments where they're just like that. But at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. You know, as long as you know you're part of the music, what does it matter what you look like? You know, what matters? What does it matter what your face looks like or what position you're in? As long as you're totally immersed in the music and you're making people enjoy it, it doesn't matter what you look like. It really doesn't. So, But to turn your brain off is hard. It really is difficult. And it is one of those things where sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. You just have to weigh it up on the as you go. It is possible for your brain to turn off, to have it turn on again, and then to turn it off again. It is possible. But there is times where your brain will be turned on from the get-go, and it will gradually peter out to turn it off. But there are times that your brain's turned off from the get-go, and it turns on. Things like meditation can solve this, because through meditation you can kind of focus on that one thing. Instead of having all the clutter, through meditation you can kind of focus on that one thing of just like playing. And John Frusciante did it with Stadium Arcadium, and he spoke about how important it is and how he would recommend it to any guitarist. And it is true, it does work. Because if you meditate and you just think about that one thing, like, you know, I'm just going to perform the best I can perform tonight and nothing else matters, and that's all you've got in your head, then that's all you'll do. You know, but for that one moment you go, you've lost it. You know, or if something sways you, like I said, like a broken string or a broken pedal or a broken lead or somebody having a go at you or whatever, happens, because there's some weird stuff that's happened at gigs that I've experienced that have just made me go, what's happening? And it just takes you out the moment. And that's the key, taking you out the moment. That's the line. But yeah, it's hard to explain. It's really, really hard to explain. But let me come back to that in a sec. So, amount of theory I've learned. I don't know a great deal of theory. I don't. I know my five positions of a pentatonic scale. I can't talk. It's really hot. Although you probably wouldn't know it because of the fact I'm wearing all black. But, I don't like colour. I don't like to stand out. Let's put it that way. Says the man with the stupid haircut. Anyway, theory-wise, I know my 5-position pentatonic scale. I know my way around in pretty much every key. There are certain keys that I don't use a lot, and I can get through them, no problem. But it's only because I know the guitar so well, because I've spent so much time understanding the pentatonics and shapes. One sec, I've just realised the camera was zoomed out, so you probably saw a lot of the room there. Probably saw the mic I'm talking into. I don't know. It's a bit strange. But okay, so we're back into where it should be now. I didn't realise it did that, but okay. Okay, so this is the guitar for me. If I have to... Let me come close. This is the guitar neck for me. So E minor and G major. That's what the guitar looks like. And I don't see it as different colours. I've done it in different colours so you can see where the patterns repeat. But they're the shapes I see. And they're the 5 shapes of a pentatonic scale there, with extra added notes that I know work through trial and error. I don't know why they work. I don't know if they're modal. I don't know if they're not. I don't know what they are. All I know is they work. That's about as far as I've got with it. I'm not a theory. I don't like to be a theory-based guitarist. I like to be able to go by how I feel. But you do have to learn theory to get to that point. There is no two ways about it. Unless you're bashing out chords, you know. But even then, you still need to know theory, because you need to kind of know where you're going with things. And it does help to know where you're going with things like that. But God, this feels weird. I need a guitar. Come back, my friend. I don't like that. That safety blanket. Okay, but yeah, that's the guitar neck to me. I see it in shapes and extra notes that I use, and bends I can use. But I only technically know the 5 positions of a pentatonic scale. I do know for a fact that when I play this scale, that's Mixolydian. And if you're playing in a minor key, then playing a major is Ionian, I think. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not theory-minded at all. I'm not particularly interested at this point in time in learning any more theory other than what I know, because I'm at a point where I'm happy with the theory I know. I want to get to a point, I've spoken about this before, where I can use what I know to make a song better or a part better and dictate how I feel at a point in time. So that's all the theory I know, is the 5% pentatonic scale with added notes, so I can go... so if I start a solo down here in, say, B minor, I can end up here, do a big rundown in B minor, so I can kind of go... You know, so I can do something like that. So I can navigate the neck, because the guitar unlocked itself to me. It was like somebody that opened the door and the light came in when I started playing up and down the neck, linear, like up and down that way instead of up and down that way. The guitar started to open up for me melodically and feel-wise when I started to play across the neck instead of up and down. That's what I was after. Because you get more out of playing up. You know, you get more out of kind of playing that way instead of just kind of like doing your... You know, you just do pentatonic boxes, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Jimi Hendrix did more of a pentatonic box than we'll ever do. Well, me anyway. You know, Jimmy was just a master beyond. I don't even need to say that. That was a totally stupid point. Of course he is. Anyway, but yeah, that's the amount of theory I know. Some people have said, put theory things on like my John Frusciante videos or my Peter Green videos saying, oh, it's just a natural minor scale and this, that and the other, and it's like, I don't understand what that means. I honestly don't. I'm not lying. I really don't understand what that means. I don't know what a natural minor is. Is that just the minor pentatonic? You know, I really don't know what that means. Because I chose at a specific point in my guitar playing life to veer away from that. To go, right, I've learned enough now where I know, where I'm comfortable, where I can do what I want to do with the guitar. And I don't want to know any more right now. In the future, yes, probably. I'll probably want to delve back into it. But at this point in time, I am comfortable with where I am. Because what I wanted to work on was feel, which was more important than theory. Once I learned the amount of theory I wanted to learn, I wanted to concentrate on feel and feel alone. To the point where you play that one note and it just says more than theory can. Because you know, it's like Comfortably Numb with Dave Gilmour, where it's kind of like that bit, that high pit, that you know, that high bend there, that half step bend in B minor. That's what I wanted. That's all I want, is to watching people like Dave Gilmour and Jimi Hendrix and John Frusciante and Peter Green. Although there's no footage really of Peter Green, listening to Peter Green and Rory Gallagher. They're so feel based, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to have to. I didn't care for understanding why. I just wanted to do that. That's all I wanted. So I've gone off on a tangent, haven't I? But hopefully it makes sense. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose, everyone. I think it's little black flies you get. Oh, my face. But yeah, I'm not picking my nose, by the way. That's not a cool thing to do on camera. But it's gone from tangent boy to bogey boy. Yes, BB. Okay, so anyway, no, that's gross. Anyway. But yeah, like I say, once I got to that level of theory where I was like, yeah, but I've learned all I want to learn for this time being. I never put a lid on it and said that's it. I'm never going to look at that again. The lid's off still, you know. And if something else comes along, then that I want to learn, I'll learn it, you know. And I'll try and put it into a practical sense where I use it, because I remember learning these scales when I was at the Institute in London. I learnt scales like this. I'm never going to use that scale. Like there's a whole tone scale, which I call the Alice in Wonderland scale, because it sounds like you're falling down a rabbit hole. You know, and they're cool scales, and they stuck with me. Those two scales stuck with me. But have I ever used them? No. Never once have I used a whole tone scale or whatever that one was. You know, what I use them for is warm-up exercises, because they're quite finger-orientated and they sound quite weird, and I like that, and especially if you put loads of reverb on. And wah! Yeah, you get a lot of fun out of them, and they sound just better than just kind of, you know, running just your minor pentatonics. They sound a bit weirder. And also that one is really fiddly on your fingers. And I think that's why I've retained them, is because I like them for finger warm-ups and finger exercises, which are really, really important. And I've started to realise how important finger exercises are now. Now I'm getting old. You know, warm-ups are dead important. When you're 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, you don't have to worry about it at all. You don't have to worry about your back. You don't have to worry about lugging around big Marshall 412s. But when you get to your 30s, you start to go, oh God, why did I do that? Anyway, yeah, so where are we? Yeah, so that's the amount of theory I learned. It's the 5 positions of a pentatonic scale with the extra added notes that I know work, you know, through trial and error. It was just trial and error. I just used to solo. I used to put Sweet Child of Mine on and just solo from note 1. You know, I would do the riff, and as soon as Axl Rose started singing, I would solo and just find what worked and what didn't, and what I liked the sound of and what I didn't. And so, and I don't know what they are. I think they're modal notes, but I don't know. I don't understand. I really don't know. I promise I don't know. And I don't analyse my own playing. Quite a lot of people have asked, when are you going to do a play like Dave Simpson's series? And it's like, I can't do a series, because I don't, well, for one thing, I don't, well, the only thing, I don't know what I'm doing. Because my brain isn't, when my brain turns on to kind of what I'm doing, I tend to get a bit lost and a bit fumbly, and I don't really understand. So I can't do a series on how I play. And in all fairness, I think I'm just an amalgamation of John Frusciante, of what I try to be. It's not what I am, it's what I want to be. It's an amalgamation of Jimi Hendrix, John Frusciante, Peter Green, Rory Gallagher, Mike McCready, and Paul Kossoff. Is there anyone I've missed? Jimi Hendrix, John Frusciante, Rory Gallagher, Peter Green, Mike McCready, and Paul Kossoff. Yeah. Those 6 guys, those 6 players are, I just want to go, crank, there you go, and go, that's me. And that's what I'm working on. That's what's important to me, is to combine all them together. So you get the real thing of Peter Green, but with the real nice melodicness of Jimi Hendrix and John Frusciante, and but crazy speed of Mike McCready, and that real kind of craziness of Mike playing, with real mellow, soulful feelings that these players have as well. But yeah, it's, I don't know, difficult question to answer actually, but that's as much theory as I know, and I'm happy with that. I have got no desires to learn any more at this point in time. Not to say I won't in the future, because I probably will, but at this point in time, I'm happy where I am. So it's 5 positions per pentatonic scale with extra added notes that I know work through trial and error, and that's about it. Coming back to, move that out of the way. Coming back to your original thing of like playing without thinking, like I say, just coming back to that quickly before we finish for the day, everybody, that is literally just like, you know, it's the luck of the draw. Sometimes it'll happen, sometimes it won't. You know, it's all up to the music gods. You know, whether you get it or you don't that day. I did a gig the other day. Saturday night we did a Sunday night, sorry, with Dukes Deluder, and it was one of those gigs where you just from the get-go your brain's off and you're just playing, and it just feels great, and it just is amazing. The gig before that was a lot harder. We were supporting a bigger, well-known band who have supported a lot of big names, and we were all dead nervous, and as a result, it wasn't the best gig for us, and we were a bit fumble-fingered, and there was a lot of pressure, and your brain didn't turn off for 1 second because you were too nervous, and you just couldn't get over that, and things kept going wrong. You know, the first song, Dan, the singer, is broke a string on his guitar, and it was just a nightmare. It was just a struggle, and we played okay, but we didn't play great. We played better on the Sunday. It was just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. But again, you know, luck of a draw. It is what it is. You can never say it's going to be good or it's going to be bad because you don't know, and you can never say I'm going to turn my brain off today and play, or I'm not, because you don't know. It's all dictated by some weird higher power. I'm sure of it. Much in the same way, kind of, I feel life is some ways. In some ways, where, like, you know, you can have, like, one day can be absolutely amazing. You have this amazing day doing whatever it is. It's like the most amazing thing ever. It's like makes your life just, like, you know, seem, this is wicked. This is what life's supposed to be. Next day, everything can just go wrong. You know, you can fall out of bed. You can stub your toe. You can fall down the stairs and break your arm in the first 5 seconds of being up. You know, and it's almost like a higher power is kind of like, you know, having a bit of a laugh sometimes, and it can feel a bit like, you know, the world's kind of ganging up on you. But anyway, yeah, have I missed anything in that answer that question? I'm terrified this answer's rubbish. Well, saying I'm terrified, all my answers are rubbish. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I really hope that makes sense. I can't think of anything else I want to say, which is strange. But yeah, I hope that answers your question. Like I said, it's not one of those things you can just, like, it's not a switch. You know, it's not like going from a neck to a bridge pickup, and, like, you know, the neck's your brain off and the bridge is your brain on. It's not like just flicking a switch. It's submitting to an energy, negative or positive, and if it's negative, your brain will turn on. If it's positive, your brain will turn off. And it's just got to be judged by the situation you're in. There is no other way of doing it, really. It's difficult to just turn your brain off and just go, right, I'm just going to play. Because sometimes you're like, over-analysing. It's like, I've already done that. Why am I doing that again? Because one of the things that got me going recently, and it's one of the things I'm trying to fight my way out of, and I've fallen into this pit, and it's a bit of a rut for me, and I'm not enjoying it right now, and it's getting on my nerves, is this thing that people used to say, oh, Jimi Hendrix would never play the same thing twice, or the same note twice, and John Frusciante would never play the same thing twice. And it took me a while to realise that what that means isn't what it means, if that makes any sense. It's like, you know, John Frusciante would change the Danny California solo. So, say one time he'd do a Danny California solo like this. The next time he might go, you know, and just put little bits in like that. I thought they meant they never. I was kind of under the impression of, like, you know, thinking, oh, they never repeated a phrase. So if Jimi Hendrix did this in Red House, he would never do it again. But he does, you know. You're always going to repeat yourself because you only have a certain amount of notes you can use on the guitar. And it kind of stuck with me for a long time of, like, you know, you can't repeat yourself. You can't play the same thing over and over again. And as a rule, it's kind of a complex. And I'm trying to fight my way out of it and going, right, it doesn't matter. If you play that a million times in a song, who cares? You know, it's not about whether you repeat yourself. It's, does it work for the music? You know, if that's all, if that's... You know, if you've got to do that for a minute, you know, not saying I'd recommend it, but saying that sometimes it works. You know, if you've got to do that for a minute as your guitar solo, because it fits the song and it works in the music perfectly, that's what it is. You know, and if you've got to repeat yourself, that's cool. There's nothing wrong with repeating yourself. But I got a bit waylaid with that, and it became a bit of a complex, and it's a bit of a thing. But anyway, that's a different video altogether. I don't know where... Tangent Boys back, everybody! Anyway. But yeah, I hope there's something in what I've said that makes sense. I really do. I'm terrified of completely ruining this question, but hopefully you kind of understand what I mean by sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and hopefully I've answered your question on how much theory I know. You know, 5-piston pentatonic scale is just key to unlocking the guitar for any guitarist. It really is key, and knowing your minor and your major pentatonics is like is the first step on the ladder. It really is. So I can't think of anything else to ramble on about, I'm afraid. So I'm going to call it there before I get really confused and start rambling off on tangents that are just totally not worth it for anybody. Nobody wants to hear that kind of nonsense. Anyway, I know you're busy people and you've got things to do. So, yeah, hope I've answered your question, everybody. I hope I've really answered your questions okay today. I had 8 questions today. Hope all the answers have been good. I hope there's something you can kind of take away from that. I hope it's been informative. So, thank you very, 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 very much for watching, everybody. And I will see you again on Friday for another video. I have no idea what I'm doing on Friday yet. Time will tell. Yeah, I just breathed in my load of hair. It went right down my throat. That was gross. Anyway, yeah, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A, everybody. And I will see you again very soon on Friday for another one. Have a great morning, afternoon, and good evening. See you again. Have a great one.